Global.
India Global. Hello and welcome.
Just before you reach for that cup of coffee, let's tell you we are going to visit the country where the coffee bean was discovered.
And also where our ancestors, the earliest humans, walked the earth.
Yes, join me, Vinita Menon,
And Pradeep Kumar.
as we go to Ethiopia.
The Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia is located in the Horn of Africa, on the east of the continent. Ethiopia has diverse flora, fauna and geography.
60% of Africa's mountains are here.
As also the major source of the river Nile.
Besides the geological wonder that can be seen from space, the Rift Valley.
The capital, Addis Ababa, enjoys a constant temperate climate, as does most of the country, because of the high mountain ranges, even though Ethiopia is close to the equator.
That was the distinctive sound of the ancient Benya, or Ethiopian traditional lyre, played by artist Alimu Agha.
Called Abyssinia in olden times, Ethiopia is said to be the home of the legendary Queen Sheba. There are several references to the country in the Bible, and Ethiopia is amongst the earliest countries in the world to have adopted Christianity.
Some of the first disciples of Prophet Muhammad fled to Ethiopia for refuge from persecution in Arabia.
With such antiquity, Ethiopia is amongst the few African countries with the largest number of UNESCO heritage sites.
This song by popular Ethiopian singers Ephraim Tamiru and Gusaye Tesfaye is about the country, its tradition and culture.
With just the Indian Ocean separating Ethiopia and India, our traders flocked to Axum in northern Ethiopia 2,000 years ago with silks and spices, seeking an exchange, ivory and gold. Commerce is still key to our relationship, with India an important partner in the country's development, says Indian Ambassador to Ethiopia, Sanjay Verma.
The high points of our relationship today is our economic and commercial linkages and our development partnership. Ethiopia is the biggest beneficiary of our lines of credit in Africa, which has crossed $1 billion. Through these lines of credit, we've been assisting the sugar plants and the railway project. Trade and investment relations are, in fact, today the fundamental bridges or links between the two countries. Trade stands at over $1.1 billion. There's hardly any investments from Ethiopia to India, but we are recognized to be the second largest foreign investor in Ethiopia. And while we have signed up for about $5 billion worth of investments on the ground have today reached about $3 billion. This trend is growing because Ethiopia is seen as an important economic destination in terms of its market size and investment opportunities.
And there is great potential for further growth in economic ties, says Ambassador Verma.
I think Indian investments can definitely grow here. Indian technology can find a place here. Indian exports, which dominate our bilateral relations, can be matched by imports from Ethiopia of pulses, cereals, and certain kinds of fruits.
Ethiopia is amongst the few countries in the world to have never been colonized.
It is a founder member of the United Nations and home of the African Union.
There are around 83 languages spoken in this multi-ethnic country, but the official language is Amharic.
Do you want to stretch out the year?
Being close to the equator, you can enjoy 13 months of sunshine in Ethiopia, as the country's calendar has that one extra month.
You just heard traditional instrumental music by Ethiopian musician Mesele Asmamau.
India and Ethiopia enjoy a traditionally close relationship. A sizable Indian diaspora comprising merchants and artisans settled in Ethiopia in the late 19th century.
Ambassador Sanjay Verma speaks of the goodwill Indians have generated in Ethiopia.
Ethiopians recognize that both our countries are extremely diverse, and there's a lot that the Ethiopians can learn from the Indian experience. And because they've been familiar with Indians for over a period of time, I frequently am told that Ethiopians don't treat Indians as foreigners. They treat themselves as somebody who's familiar. So that would suggest the comfort level. We've had a strong presence in the educational sector here, and Indian teachers have been here for 50, 60 years. Of the 10,000 strong Indian population in Ethiopia, about 1,000 are professors.
Our cooperation in capacity building under the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program has been considerable, with 220 scholarships being given to Ethiopian students, one of the highest in Africa.
The Indian Council for Cultural Relations ICCR scholarships are equally popular and have increased to 50.
Telemedicine facilities through India's Pan-Africa network are available here.
And the Harar Military Academy, modelled after our own NDA in Pune, was built with Indian assistance.
Bollywood is both popular and a cultural ambassador as well, says Indian envoy Sanjay Verma.
Bollywood is a great binding force, and Ethiopians love our films, not only for the social, cultural milieu which they consider similar to Ethiopia, but also the fact that Indian culture, as seen through Bollywood, suggests that traditional cultures can stand the onslaught of foreign influences.
The sight of men wearing turbans is strikingly common to Ethiopian and Indian villages.
While the South Indian tradition of using fermented flour for making dosa is similar to the Ethiopian bread injera made from sourdough. But Indians need to get to know Ethiopia better, says Ambassador Sanjay Verma.
In India, people have heard about Ethiopia, but there are certain aspects of this beautiful and historic country that not many Indians may be aware of. For example, one of the finest books to be written in the realm of fiction around Ethiopia was written by Abraham Verghese, an Indian origin doctor writer. The book is called Cutting for Stone. Sant Chatwal, who's a well-known NRI in the United States of America, actually began his career in Ethiopia. Every time I meet senior dignitaries and officials here, they all will turn around and tell me that at some point they were taught by Indian teachers, and many would still remember the names of their teachers. So that's a very strong connect.
Ethiopia has been called the running Mecca for the number of world record holders it produces in middle and long distance running.
Haile Gebrselassie currently holds a marathon world record,
and Kenenisa Bakila is the world cross-country champion.
Women too have joined the record hall.
Well, that wraps up our visit to Ethiopia.
But before we go, here's a question for you. A small community of descendants of Ethiopians who settled in India can be found in our country today. Who are they?
Send in your answers to indiajourney360@gmail.com.
The first 3 listeners sending in the correct answers will get a music CD from the AIR archives and a DVD from the Ministry of External Affairs.
Congratulations, L. Naresh from Bangalore, Rakesh Ranjan from Kolkata, and Sunil Sharma from Hisar, Haryana, for sending in the right answer to a question on Indonesia.
Biju Patnaik was the Indian awarded the honorary status of Bhumiputra, or son of the soil, by Indonesia.
That brings us to the end of this program. Until next time then, goodbye.
And travel safe.